Sometimes we all think of Jimmy C. Newman so much with Cajun music that we forget that before you really became known for the Cajun records and stuff, you made a lot of just straight country records, great records, and a beautiful, beautiful ballad called A Fallen Star that we don't hear much anymore. Cry, Cry, Darling, yeah. So you didn't really start out just doing strictly Cajun music, did you?
The very first record I was singing on the backside of a hit, it was strictly French Cajun, a lot like the type of stuff I do now with the band Cajun Country. But in 1954, I recorded Cry, Cry, Darling, and ever since, well, my whole career of recording country music was from 54 till about 1970 when things changed in the music business and recording business and also other reasons, I suppose, but luckily through there, 1957 on Dot Records, I had A Fallen Star.
What would we have to do to talk you into singing that?
Everybody do hey one time. Hey! Oh, let's win. A star fell from heaven, right into my arms. The brightest star I know I've ever seen. Then I found out that it was really you who came into my life to fill a dream. A fallen star, that's what you are. The twinkle in your eye came from the sky. You must step straight from the Milky Way. A fallen star, that's what you are. Thank you all the Cajunettes helping me out there. And the hairy-legged Cajun. A fallen star, that's what you are. The twinkle in your eye came from the sky. You must step straight from the Milky Way. A fallen star, that's what you are. And I thank you all. Thank you. Thank you, Ben.
Would you ever go back and do that again at the Opry? Because you haven't done those kinds of things there in so long.
Sometimes I'll do it at the Opera. You know, when I formed the band Cajun Country, my band Cajun Country, of course, we're different. It's like, so we kept doing the up-tempo songs. So every once in a while, if there's a little time there, if I'm hosting, then I might throw in A Fallen Star. So it's fun, too, to do it then. And, of course, you know, that was in 1957, and it's amazing at how many people don't remember that song. Because, you know, when you think about it, when you've recorded a song back that far back, although it was a big hit for you, there's a lot of people that were fans of that particular song that aren't there anymore. So, but there's still some people that remember it.
Everybody in this room remembered it.
Yeah, that's great, and I appreciate
I think
that.
one reason that maybe they don't remember, you had the pop version of that, Jimmy. And the reason I know that, Owen did a country version with Bill Monroe of the same song.
Ferlin Husky recorded that too, didn't he?
Yeah, Ferlin came off of I want to tell you a quick little story about that, and all due respect to Ferlin, because he's a jewel and a dear friend, and has been and always was. But then he covered me with this song, and funny how these things work out. Ferlin had gone, and I was just knocked out over his record. And I said, and I told some people when I was recording for Dot Records, I said, Ferlin can hit country. He's a real Billy. I mean, he's real country. And if he can hit pop, I think I can too. So I asked a buddy Killen who published The Fallen Star, I said, do you have any kind of song like Gone that might be a crossover that I could do? He said, come over Monday. I've got one maybe you like. And it was A Fallen Star. So I made that remark about Ferlin, you see. And so I recorded A Fallen Star. Ferlin comes off a Gone and did not have a follow-up for it, and he covers me with A Fallen Star. He followed a way over $1 million seller with A Fallen Star, and it didn't help our sales at all. It made them awfully sick, and me too.
Well, didn't you do it not too long ago on the Opry?
Yes, I did it for
Yeah.
Mr. Whitaker before he left. He
I
asked me
loved
to do
because
it.
I've always loved that song. I recorded it in an album, but I love Jimmy's record of it.
I was watching Johnny Counterfeit over there. Can you imitate Jimmy Newman doing A Fallen Star?
I'm working on it right now. Could you run through it one more time, please?
I don't believe
You
I
do
better
great
do it.
impressions. Is that how you learn to do them? You just watch people over and over?
As a matter of fact, I'm so grateful to be on this show because as I look around the room, I see everyone that I've seen on television for quite a few years and watching how they entertain, watching all of your shows, all of your appearances, watching how you do your songs and trying to learn from you. I've learned a great deal on how to present myself. As an example, watching Johnny Russell in his comedy and his music, and Del Reeves too, the way they have taught me as I was watching television. Now I get a chance to be with them on a television show. And watching all the country programs on television, as an example, when Johnny Cash, when his show came out.
But you notice that he doesn't try to imitate the Browns or the Whites.
That'll take a little longer to do 3 people at one time. You know? All the chapel bells are ringing. But I have to be on key first. But growing up, I loved watching all those shows and watching Johnny Cash come on and do his program, and he would say, in the key of E, hello, I'm Johnny Cash. And then he'd get right into the song of Like I Walked the Line or something. Let's try that. I keep a close watch on this heart of mine. I keep my eyes wide open all the time. I keep the ends out for the tie that binds. Because you're mine, I walk the line. And I'd watch Porter Wagoner's show, and I'd watch Bill Anderson on television. And I have all these guests. Let's go to the key of C now. And then I got to see Ernest Tubb on TV. I'm walking the floor over you. I can't sleep a wink, that is true. I'm hoping and I'm praying that my heart breaks right in two. Walking the floor over you. Keep her going, boys, in the key of G now. Then Hee Haw came on television with Buck Owens. They're gonna put me in the movies. They're gonna make a big star out of me. We'll make a scene about a man that's sad and lonely, and all I gotta do is act naturally. Well, I'll bet you I'm gonna be a big star. I might win an Oscar, you can't never tell. The movies are gonna make me a big star, 'cause I can play the part so well. Well, I hope you'll come to see me in the movie. Then I know that you're gonna plainly see the biggest fool to ever hit the big time. And all I gotta do is act naturally. 2, 3, 4. All I gotta do is act naturally. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you've been watching.
Thank you.
Watching awful close. How do you do, Johnny? You wrote that song.
And thank you. I took him out to meet Johnny Cash. And I
That's
said,
right.
I want you to do Cash for Cash. And so he went out there and he did Johnny Cash, and Cash stood there and watched him and looked at him. And John said, well, that's pretty good, son, but I don't do all them little weird things. June said, yeah, you do.
How did you feel doing Johnny Cash for Johnny Cash?
I'll tell you, that was really a moment for me. I mean, here I was, talk about being on the spot. He's looking right at me. And I start singing a song right there and right in front of him, you know. And he got a big old grin on his face. He said, man, you've got me down. Thank you. But he was real gracious about it. It was really an honor for me to do that.
Do you find that most people take the invitation as flattery? I mean, they appreciate the fact that you give them?
Yes, and I'm grateful for that they don't get mad at me. And I even, one time I was on TNN and was doing a Bill Anderson song, and he didn't get mad at me either, which thanks, Bill.
No, hey, got to stand in line to imitate me. Everybody in this room imitates me. In fact, anybody want to, go right ahead. You got the floor.
No, you broke my heart.
Wait a minute, Stonewall? I never heard you do me.
Steel.
Don't call me, I'll call you, pal. You do people other than singers, though. Don't you do John Wayne? Don't you and Del Reeves have a little act together?
Well, sometimes we do a song together. Let's see, Del, you do the Walter Brennan thing, don't you?
Yeah, I do the Walter Brennan, and we do the, you do the.
Kind of make up our own version of of a green grass of home.
Yeah.
In D.
And D, boys, just give us a green grass of homes.
A little Walter Brennan, if you would, please, Mr. Del Reeves.
Yeah. This is serious, folks.
Sure.
Well, sir, I ain't never seen before.
Well, now's your chance, Pilgrim.
Okay. Well, your little hometown looks the same as a step down from the train. And there to meet me is Mama and Papa. Yes, it is. And down the road I look, and there runs Mary. Hair of gold and lips like cherry. Lord, it's good. It's just good to touch the green grass of home. Yes, it is. All right now, John.
Well, the old outhouse is
Wait a
still
minute.
standing,
Holy, what's that?
though the paint is cracked and right.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And there's that old oak seat that I used to sit on.
That's right, John.
Well, down the lane I walk with my sweet Mary.
Yes.
Hair like gold and legs kind of hairy. Well, it's good to touch the green grass.
Well, then let's sing it,
Sing
all
it
right?
with
All right.
Yes,
Yes,
they'll
you'll
all
all
come to see us.
beneath the
Shade
shade
of the
of that old oak
oak or apple tree. Well, it's good to touch the
green
green grass of home.
of home. Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
That's what I said.
Oh, that's great. Oh. That's wonderful. You got to give us just a little touch of Archie and Edith, just a little bit, because you do that so
Oh,
well.
jeez, me and the Jingbot never sang a country song, though, huh? Edith, get over here.
I'm right here, Archie. Give us a nip cord.
Boy, the way Glenn Miller played.
Songs that made the hit parade.
Gosh, guys like us, we had it made.
Those were the days. And you knew where you were then.
Girls were girls and men were men. Mister, we could use a man like Herbert Hoover again. Didn't need no welfare states.
Everybody pulled his weight.
Gee, our old LaSalle ran great.
Those were the days.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, Roy Acuff used to ask you to imitate him, didn't he?
Oh, well, he'd tell every time I go by his dressing room, which is number one, he said, who you doing tonight? I said, Roy, I'm doing Johnny Cash. He said, well, do the best you can. If I said, I'm going to do you tonight, Roy, he said, well, make me look good there, boy.
What about Tater? Is he like for you to imitate him?
Oh, Tater loves it. Tater loves it. Oh, Lord, Roy, they'll never see us again on the Opry. Leroy Van Dyke. He's usually got his glasses on, but he used to have.
So what you do is you take their mannerisms and then you exaggerate them a little bit.
Sure.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that's part of what you do.
Yeah, you exaggerate them a lot.
Well, y'all know I try to write a few songs, and yeah, well, I do. That's kind of a little hobby of mine. I've been trying to write some songs in recent years with some of the new writers and some of the young writers, and I wrote a song the other day that I was kind of excited about. Get me a little music going there, Lester. And I took this song to a friend of mine. I showed it to him, and I said, I'm pretty excited about this song. And he looked at me, and he said, well, that's all right, but you'll never get it recorded. And I said, why won't I ever get it recorded? And he said, because it's too country. And I said, too country? What's that? Is that like too Republican or too Democrat? Is it too far to the left? Is it too far to the right? Too straight down the middle? Is it too black or too white? Are the biscuits too fluffy? Is the chicken too fried? Is the gravy too thick? Are the peas too black-eyed? Is the iced tea too sweet? Does it have too much tang? Are there too many lemons in Mama's lemon meringue? Are the roses too red? Is the sunshine too bright? Are there too many stars in the heavens at night? Are there too many fish that still jump in the stream? Is the blue sky too blue? Is the clean air too clean? Too country. What's that? Is it too many pearls of wisdom under Grandpa's old hat? Is it just too old-fashioned? Is it just too antique? Is the question too strong? Is the answer too weak? Is the grace too amazing? Is the steeple too tall? Are there too many yes sirs, yes ma'ams, and how are y'all? Is the message too real, too close to the bone? Do the fiddle and steel remind you too much of home? Is honest and true just not in demand? Too country. Too country? Too country. I don't understand.
What a great song.
Thank you. Bless your hearts. Thank you.
Bill, we need to hear that on the Opry on a regular basis.
Do you
Seriously.
think, let me ask you a question. I showed that to some people at Warner Brothers Records, and they said to me, well, the people in the industry understand it, but will the fans understand?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
Will the fans, do they understand what we're talking
Yes.
about?
I think they will.
I don't know.
That's right.
Yeah, right.
Thank you, man. Well, I wanted to share that with you because I was hoping maybe that would touch y'all a little bit like it did Chuck Cannon, who is married to a lovely female singer named Laurie White. Chuck Cannon and I wrote that together, so I can't take all the credit or blame for it.
I have to testify. Bill Anderson came to this town in 1958 on the strength of City Lights, and this year he's got Mark Wills' current single, Wish You Were Here. He's got the next Steve Wariner single, and he's coming off of a huge hit by Brian White called One Small Miracle, and I can't think of anybody who's writing in this town today that is still doing it like you are, buddy.
I'm having fun. Thank you.
Yes.
Well, it's fun. Freddie, what'd you start to say?
Well, I want to say now, she's talking. Jan was talking about how all the great songs he's written, and you do write some of the greatest I've ever heard in my life. You are a fantastic writer, in all categories, really. But he wrote a song, and my wife said she listens to part of it. She cries her heart out. She can't listen to it. It's the saddest song I've ever heard in my life, and it's great. It's something everybody. I think all of us would cry our hearts out if we heard it. I mean, if you ever heard it, it's called Five Little Fingers. Have you heard that? Ain't that the saddest song in the world? And it's so true and so human. So it's just beautiful. That's all.
And then I wrote Peel Me a Nanner, Roy.
That's the other side.
Let's talk about real things. Okay, now the van thing. If we haven't been there, we've been close. Leroy Van Dyke's signature song, "The Auctioneer." You actually are, or were, or are you still a card-carrying auctioneer?
It's like riding a bicycle. If you ever were, you are a bicycle rider. And same thing with this. You know, I've been an auctioneer since 1951, which is several years longer than I've been doing this for a living. And it's like a lot of you. You know, you connect up with one song that does something for you, and it changes your life completely. This started when I was about 9 years old. I grew up on a farm, and I'd been to a lot of farm auctions with my dad, but wasn't particularly impressed until one day he took me to a cattle sale at Sedalia, Missouri, where the Missouri State Fair is. The auctioneer that day just pinned my hide to the wall. I'd never heard anything like it. He was like a .30 caliber machine gun. And at that moment, I said, I have got to learn how to do that, which I did right after my junior year of college at the University of Missouri. And then went to Korea, and while I was in Korea, sat down and wrote the story of that guy's life. His name was Ray Sims. At the time, I didn't even know we were related, but he's a second cousin of mine. The only thing in the song that's not true was the use of the term Arkansas. I couldn't find anything to rhyme with Missouri. There is no word to rhyme with Missouri. So it's a true life story of Ray Sims, who is still alive and well. He's retired from the auction business, but he's the best auctioneer that ever lived.
Well, now, do you have to have some kind of credentials to be an auctioneer? I mean, is there something you have to keep up your chops and get your card renewed, like you're in the musicians union or something?
Oh, it depends on the state.
Continuing education.
Continuing education. No, some states don't even require a license or don't even require being educated for it. Some of them just pick it up from the neighbors or a local auctioneer. But some states now require that you've attended an auction school and that you also have an apprenticeship, which wasn't in force years ago. I am licensed and I'm bonded, and I'm available.
So if the music career hadn't worked out, you would have actually made your living as an
That's what I
auctioneer?
would have been doing full time. I still do both. About 65% of the agricultural events that I work, I take part in the 4-H and FFA sales. As a matter as recently as last weekend in West Palm Beach, as a matter of fact.
Well, lay a little of it on us.
Yeah, and I want you and you to pay attention because you got to imitate this. You see, you got to study the mannerisms, and so get ready. Okay, huh? You're ready, and they're ready. It's kind of a love ballad. Hey, well, all real loud. Here we go. Hey, well, all right, sir, here we go there, and what are they going to give for? I'm at 25 to get 30 now, 5 for a bit to 5 and now 40 now, 5 for a bit to 5. It's done with mirrors. Wanted to buy him there. There was a boy in Arkansas who wouldn't listen to his ma, and she told him he should go to school. He'd sneak away in the afternoon, take a little walk, then pretty soon you'd find him at the local auction barn. He'd stand and listen carefully, then pretty soon he began to see how the auctioneer could talk so rapidly. He said, oh my, it's do or die, I've got to learn that auction cry, gotta make my mark and be an auctioneer. $25 bidder now, $30, 30 bid, give me 30, make it 30 bid, I'm on a $30 bill, give me 30, hooray, bid, $30 bid. $30 bidder now, 35, will they give me 35 to make it 35 to bid at 35, who would have bid it at a $35 bid? As time went on, he did his best and all could see he didn't jest. He practiced calling bid both night and day. His pap would find him behind the barn just working up an awful storm as he tried to imitate the auctioneer. Then his pap said, son, we just can't stand to have a mediocre man selling things at auction using our good name. I'll send you off to auction school, then you'll be nobody's fool. You can take your place among the best. $35 bidder, now the $40, 40 bill, give me 40, make a 40 bidder on the $40 bill, give me 40, hooray, bidder, the $40 bid. $40 bidder now, 45 bill, give me 45, to make it a 45 bidder, the 45, who would have bid it at a $45 bid? So from that boy who went to school, there grew a man who played it cool. He came back home a full-fledged auctioneer. Then the people came from miles around to hear him make that rhythmic sound that filled their hearts with such a happy cheer. His fame spread out from shore to shore. He had all he could do and more. Had to buy a plane to get around. Now he's the tops in all the land. Let Paul give that man a hand. He's the best of all the auctioneers. $45 bidder, now the $50, 50 bill, give me 50, make a 50 bid on the $50 bill, give me 50, hooray, bid a $50 bill. $50 bidder now, 55 bill, give me 55 to make it a $55 bill, 55 sold that goat for the $50 bill. Hey, well, all right, sir, open the gate and let them out and walk them. Here we come, a lot number 29 in, what are they going to get for? I'm at $600 down here, not 10, not 25, and not 35, and not 50, not 60, not 75, 85, and not 7, not 10, and not 25, and not 35, 50, 60, 75, and another mile there. Okay, your turn. You got to do it. Let's hear it. Bill, you know, you've got and others in this room have a tremendous track record of songwriters, as songwriters. I only wrote one song, and then I quit while I was ahead. But songs are a part of your soul if you're a songwriter, even if it's one song. And I remember when I was trying to do something with this song, and I took it to some people, some high-powered disc jockeys and some radio station operators and some publishers, and none of them said it was commercial. One guy in Ohio, high-powered 50,000-watt disc jockey, radio station disc jockey, said, well, it won't work. He said, it's not commercial. Rewrite it and call it Auction of Love. That would have been a sudden death deal. But the thing did work, and those things do change your... It changes your life completely. Yeah.
Johnny Counterfeit, can you do it? Did you watch him close enough?
Tell them what we did up at WSM one day.
Well, first of all, I'm going to need a little more time with that, like that rapid fire that he has there. So, but we were on Keith Bilbrey's show on WSM one morning, and Keith wanted me to do an impression of Leroy Van Dyke. And so we had it worked out to where
No, the listeners didn't know that I had just walked into the studio. He
Yeah.
had already done some imitations, and Keith said, well, Johnny, why don't you do an imitation of LVD? He said, well, I'll try. So I sat down beside him, and I did that. It kind of blew their mind.
Yeah, and then Bilbrey says, well, that's not too bad.
You more or less discovered Dottie. You got her. You got her first major recording contract. Talk
Yeah.
about Dottie West a little bit.
I don't know. I was recording so many people at that time, but Buddy Killen used to bring me demos of her singing some of her songs, and Jim Reeves, I think, made a duet with her or something, and he may have said to me, this girl's pretty good or something. I don't remember, but I thought, Owen was having a lot of success with Patsy and all those people, and I was having a little success with her, but not enough.
What do you want besides number one?
And I want another.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, where was I?
I brought you a demo of Dottie too, didn't I? The song that I recorded and Jim recorded.
I don't know.
Didn't I?
Didn't I? I don't remember that. But anyway, if I have time to think about it, I can remember. But where was I?
We're just kind of talking about Dottie.
Yeah, so I called her on the phone, and she was out mowing the grass. I've read. and I said, "This is Chet, do you want to record for RCA?" And she thought it was somebody kidding. But I love Dottie West. I think she's one of the great people for phrasing. A lot of girls try to do that, but nobody can come up to Dottie, I don't think, while she was alive. And so I miss her very much.
Well, you sure made some timeless records with her.
Yeah.
Songs like "Here Comes My Baby" and all those great things.
Yeah.
I think he produced It Just Takes Practice to Forget, and another song that I wrote, I think you did with Connie Smith. I believe you produced that on Senses.
What's the title?
Senses, 5 Senses. Because on the back of one of those Bill Anderson records, I enjoyed the ride too. John.
I don't remember that. I don't even like Connie now. She left us and went with CBS, And I didn't think that was very nice, but I still think that she's one of the greatest singers in this town, and we all know that's true.
I said when we started today, we've got a colorful group. We had the Whites and the Browns and Jack Green is the one we haven't heard from yet. You were telling me a little bit about the song that you want to do, and you said there's a very deep story about this song that involves your father.
They get a mic here.
Get him a guitar and a microphone.
I need to stand. Okay. You can hold it.
Tell the story you were telling me a little bit about, Jack.
Well, when I was a young boy, I spent more time with Mama than I did Daddy, because Daddy was always he was a high tension lineman, and every time it come a storm, he'd be going all night and all day and all night the next night trying to fix up the electricity for all the county, And every time he had some time off, we'd go rabbit hunting. And I didn't like to rabbit hunt, but I went with him just so I could be with Daddy. And that was the only time I got to be with him. And I wasn't allowed to talk because you'd scare the rabbits up. So I had to be quiet all the time, So, but anyway, I spent so much time with my dad, and I loved him, and I loved my mom because Mom was so I was the only boy and had 7 sisters. You think I wasn't spoiled? I'm telling you. And by the way, somebody asked me what made me get in the music business, and I did one line in a song on graduation day, and my sisters, who never had time for me at all of a sudden came up and hugged me and kissed me and said, "Oh, you done so good." And I said, right there is the reason I'm in the showbiz. But anyway, when Mama got a new religion that Daddy didn't know anything about. Of course, Daddy never went to church, and I didn't either. But when Mama joined another church that Daddy didn't like, I come in one night and he's whipping my mama with a belt. And from that day on, I never spoke to my daddy until I went back to see him the day he died. And the time I got to spend with him is very special. This song talks about a little boy and his daddy. It's called This One Belongs to Me. It's a story about a little boy that's in trouble, and Daddy gets him out of trouble. And as he gets older, he's taking care of Daddy. 10 years old and trembling as I face that angry man. A broken window, my baseball in his hand. I wanted so to run and hide. Then Papa came to my side. He told the man we'd fix it right away. And ruffling up my hair, he went on to say, this one belongs to me. He's mine, you see. Though he's in a little trouble, I'm proud as I can be. This one belongs to me. He's a part of me. I'll tend to him until he's grown. This one belongs to me. Somehow I grew up and made it through my teenage years. Every time I stumbled, Papa's hand was always there. I know I caused him a lot of pain, always out there raising Cain. One night, too ashamed to face him, I sneaked in. There on his knees, I overheard him say again, this one belongs to me. He's mine, you see. Though he's in a little trouble, I'm proud as I can be. This one belongs to me. He's a part of me. I'll care for him until he's grown. This one belongs to me. Hadn't seen him in years. When I got that call, they said his health turned poor. He battled hard, but old age had won the war. I found him in a county home. He was scared and so alone. I held that gentle man in my arms. And as we left, I told the orderly in charge, this one belongs to me. He's mine, you see. Though he's in a little trouble, I'm proud as I can be. This one belongs to me. He's a part of me. I'll care for him until he's grown. This one belongs to me. I'll tend to him until he's gone. This one belongs to me. I love you, Daddy.
What a song. Who wrote that? Did you write that?
No, I didn't get to write that. I can't tell you the writer. I really can't.
I could hear that song being a hit today. I mean, that sounds like...
It's on my latest album. It's on Highway to the Sky, LP,
Boy,
CD.
That's beautiful. Yeah. That's really beautiful.
I do it on all my shows.
That's a touching song, boy. That what really touches your heart, my friend.
Thank you, brother. Thank
I looked around the room here, you know, and I seen tears in my eyes and other people's too, you know.
That's a
now
story
that's
of life.
country. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's country.
Yeah.
That's people put to music, boy. That's what that is.
People put to music. That's a great expression.
Stories of life.
I like that.
You're right, Bill. That's a hit song.
Stories of life.
Sure sounds like it. Bobby Bear.
Hey.
Way too quiet today.
BB, you want guitar?
We
Bob?
talked about Christofferson a while ago, and Roy Drusky did Jody and the Kid. Chris Christofferson wrote the one that you're going to do, I think, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Am I on? Chris.
No wonder we haven't heard from Bobby. His microphone's not on. That's the one that Johnny dropped there. I don't know. Is it working?
How many guitar pickers does it take to raise a microphone?
Oh, I'm fine. Thank you, Bobby. Thank you, Mr. Engineer. It's going to fall on me now.
What'd you say, Jeannie Seeley?
How many guitar pickers and songwriters does it take to raise a microphone?
15. Yeah, Bill, Chris wrote this for me back in the early 70s, and it was a #1 record then, and this is really country. I call it country.
Yeah, it is. When you were rehearsing it a while ago or just strumming along and playing it, you turned to me and I walked by and you said, now that's the kind of song I like to sing.
Yeah, I love to just rear back and bellow it out. Fact is, I'm going to sing it for you and get my 2 girlfriends from the Opry and the Whites and the Browns to sing the chorus. Is this thing falling on me?
I got to fix this for you.
Yeah, I fixed it. But I want them all to sing with me on the choruses.
All right.
Is everybody ready? This is called Come Sundown, She'll Be Gone. I heard the front door closing softly as I'm waking from my sleep with the last touch of her lips, Lord, like a whisper on my cheek. And I curse the sun for rising, for the worst, Lord, is yet to come. And this morning she's just leaving, but come sundown, she'll be gone. See the lipstick on the pillow that I placed beneath her head, and the soft sheets still feel warm, Lord, where she lay upon my bed. And it hurts to know it's over, for the hurt, Lord, has just begun. And this morning she's just leaving, but come sundown, she'll be gone. Yeah, come sundown, she'll be gone. Y'all did good. I love it. Thank you.
Bill, you know what I'd like to
Yeah, I
hear?
love that.
I sure would like to hear Bobby Bear do one of those old dog songs of his.
That's right. Bobby's one of the old dogs.
He's one of the old dogs.
yeah.
And I tell you, that's the greatest album I've ever heard in my life. It sure does hit home. I wish some of the girls, I really think the girls should get together and record one.
The old dogettes.
But I don't know what they'd call them.
Well, I'll tell you what.
We can't call them old dogs.
The old dogs, as you know, is myself, Jerry Reed, Mel Tillis, and Waylon Jennings. And we've done 21 all-new Shel Silverstein songs. And they're all about the realities of getting old.
That's right, and boy, they're great. Oh.
And in fact, this is the title
Sure does
song.
hit home.
The title song is "I'm an old dog, but I can still bury a bone." And you can take that in. And Jerry Reed's doing one called "Come Back When You're Younger," and we're all doing one called "Me and Jimmy Rogers," and we're doing a lot of songs together. But here's one that I did. I'll sing you part of it. I won't sing all of it, just part of it. It was our 25th anniversary, and I was watching the Super Bowl when suddenly she started cursing me. Hell, I almost dropped my remote control. Then she said, "That's that," and grabbed her hat and headed out into the snow. That was almost 3 long years ago. Now see her shuffling down the street, combat boots on her dainty feet, pushing her belongings in a cart from the A&P. See her bumming cigarettes on the sidewalk where she sits. Oh, she'd rather be homeless than here at home with me. She'd rather be sleeping in some doorway than lolling in the lap of luxury. And when that cold wind starts to blow, Lord, it hurts me so to know she'd rather be homeless than here at home with me.
There's a song on there called "Cut the Mustard." Is that my song?
No.
It is.
No, Mel Tillis does that one. It's
Yeah,
called
yeah,
"I'm Not
right.
Too
I
Old."
saw it advertised.
Not too old to cut the mustard, just too tired to spread it around. Skeeter and I had duet albums, a couple of them, two
Yeah,
or
a
three
couple of them
maybe.
that were hits in the
Big
pop
hits
charts.
all over the
Yeah.
world.
Mhm.
Yeah, we went to
And-
Barbados a year ago.
Yeah, we were there last New Year's Eve, and anyway, so I thank Chet for all that, and I'm just like I said, I thank God today that you're here with us, Chet. Everybody's showing you how much they love you and how happy we all are, and what it means to me, like all these years, and still singing the songs all over the world that you were such a part of and helped me find them. The one I must tell you, I told them earlier out there a while ago that Chet talked me into doing shooby dooby doo bop down down be dooby dooby. And he said,
Carole King.
Yes, Carole King. And on the demo they sent us, little Eva was singing, remember? She was their babysitter, Carol and Jerry Goffin's babysitter. So she was singing. I got a great demo at the house still. And it was either do that song or breaking up is hard to do, which was also another shooby dooby doo bop down down. And Chet kept saying, Skeeter, the door is open for you if you want to walk in there, because I'd had the end of the world. And I was scared. And we'd also done a Skeeter Sings Standards album, which was his idea. I wrote him a letter after I did that album, because I think I was more proud of that than anything I ever did. And did all pop standards that I'd sung as a teenager and all that, me and Betty Jack. So I thanked him for that, wrote him a letter and thanked him. And those songs, which now are being recorded by some of the younger girls now, like It only hurts for a little while. That's what they tell me. That's what they say. But at the time, I did that on the Opry, and of course, I did Shooby-Dooby-Doo-Bop one time, and was told not to do it again. And that week, it hit number 4 in the pop charts and sold 500,000 records. Didn't it, Chet? And I did it a few weeks ago on Porter's portion. This is 1998, right? Just this before we went into the new year. And I told the boys, we do this because we just came back from Barbados and everything, and, over there they love it, as Bobby knows. So I thought, well, we'll do that tonight. It's, a whole new year since 1965, right? And I went out, it happened to be on Porter's portion, and we did it. And when I came off, he says, Skeeter, that's just not the song to do here at the Opry. I about fainted. I mean, I really did. And I told Porter. And so the other night, I forgot we had one of the new girls that was on, and my band said, I wonder if Porter's listening, because it was very, very pop, I love a lot of the new music today, though, but I'm just happy and thankful to be here today. And about Floyd, we were in Barbados when we got that news, and I was on stage fixing to do Last Date. And I don't know why, and just something came over me, and Bobby and them had heard the news, but I hadn't, and I thank God that I had not heard it. And I went on and I stopped, and I don't even know if maybe we don't need to do that song today and everything. And it's just great to be here with Chet and all of our friends, and just say again one more time, one more time. God's listening. I thank him, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. And I love you so much, Chet. He took me home too, back there those years ago. He had more faith in me than I've ever had in myself. I asked him, why are you recording me? Do you just feel sorry for me? Because Betty Jack had been killed in the accident. And he said, feel sorry for you? I said, yeah. He said, no, I'm going to have a big hit with you someday. He believed that when I didn't. He had more faith in me than I've had in myself.
And he produced Into the World.
Mm-hmm. So many new records.
I want to say one more thing. As everybody knows, I've been a Skeeter Davis fan forever, but when she's talking about cutting these things, like with a rock and roll sound, you were following the trends. But to me, I've always loved, since I was a kid, beside country music, I loved all the Broadway show tunes and everything. And I want to see if anybody else hears what I do. I have always thought if Skeeter Davis had not been in love with country music and the Grand Ole Opry, could she not have been in a Broadway show? Her voice is that
I'm going to watch that man right out of my hair. I'm going to watch that man right out of my hair.
I really think she could, because she has that
Skeeter
kind
can do
of
anything
voice.
she can do anything she wants to. That's right.
Well, I want to tell you a story about Skeeter. Skeeter was my next door neighbor for 10 years. And Skeeter had an ocelot. She had several animals around there. One late one night or early one morning, 12 or 1 o'clock, got a call, and I'm standing there in my bare feet. Skeeter says, my wildcat is loose. Will you come and help me find it? And I looked at my bare feet and said,
It was named after Fred Carter. Fred W. Cat.
Did you?
And so I moved to
You
Goodlettsville.
found him, I assume.
We found him he was gone all night long. And, of course, all the police and all the neighbors in Brentwood were looking. And it was great because it was right at Christmas, and he had followed me out of the house. And, of course, that's the year I quit wearing fur, quit eating flesh. I don't eat, I'm a vegetarian and all that. So, excuse me, Bill.
Anyway. Cramp in my leg.
Yes, I know.
Don't forget.
But anyway, I think I had 14 dogs, a dove, and a wildcat all at that time. And but we did find him it was the next morning. And he was great. He was great and very, very happy to get back in the house in the wintertime.
Did you say you used to live next door to Skeeter?
I used to live next door to Skeeter. She shot, on 4th of July, she shot her rockets into my swimming pool.
More fun than Fair Park, wasn't it?
I'll tell you, we had a great time. Stu and Jim Ed lived just around the corner.
Yeah.
It's down the street.
Good
Just down the street, yeah.
Then
We were all
Jeannie Pruitt
neighbors.
came to live in your house, I think.
Who's that?
Jeannie Pruitt, didn't she?
That's right. That's right. Jeannie did.
That day I was shooting off the fireworks. I never will forget that. Because I did that. I never had children, but I always had so much fun with them and for them. So I'd always have so many fireworks But usually I went out on my farm and did it. But it scared all my horses and all the animals, so I thought, I don't want to do that anymore. I'll just worry about Bobby's kids and have fun, scare them. And so I was out there playing, and everything had all the fireworks going, and all of a sudden one rocket was just heading right down to his roof. I said, oh, Lord, please don't let that go in the house. Please don't let it go in the house. And it just made a curve and went right in his swimming pool. Is that not the truth? It did. Quick answer to prayer.
Skeeter was the best neighbor I've ever had.
Thanks.
Yes, she was.
She painted her house one day and said, come on, why don't you see how I painted my house? And all the trim was black.
That's right.
Well, it was half black and half white for a while. I was having more fun with the tour buses. I didn't want them coming by. I thought if I can just make them worry just enough, maybe they'll stay off the street. Well, they were such, the people come and, then they come back at night when you're swimming pool. I'm sorry, folks, but some of y'all that did that out there scared me to pieces. But anyway, what he's talking about, I did have them, every other house, the colonial-style houses, were the white post. So I decided to do them black. I was changing it with the old brick, which didn't go in that neighborhood really, but I did it. But what really worried him, I had them half black and half white for a while. And that's what I was just really trying to prove a point, I think. But hopefully people know me real good, know I made that point too.
Stu and I were going to write you a letter.
Yeah.
We were going to assign ourselves as a committee of two
to paint?
to paint your house white again.
Yeah.
Getting back to that ocelot, was there another ocelot around RCA Studios, or did you have the only one?
Well, Felton, when Chet went off to the Caribbean that he spoke of earlier on that trip with John and Gwen and Leona, he turned me over to Felton Jarvis for that while. And Felton had a Jaguar, which was a much larger cat. And I think that's maybe what helped run Chet off. I had a Jaguar or a snake. I don't know what all in that studio.
Well, I remember
But he
one
was
morning
something.
coming to a session, and there was one of those, an ocelot or the Jaguar tied to the rear view mirror of a car. And I'm trying to keep calm to get in to do this session, and all of a sudden, cow! This thing jumped out from the back and scared me to death.
Yeah, that was Felton's big cat. And Felton was about just like me. He loved a lot of the animals and all the different things. I gave him a parrot for Christmas. I never talked to people into selling it to me. It was a very old, about 75 years old. And I taught it to say, hey, FJ, hey, FJ. I worked with it about 2 days before Christmas, and he came to my house Christmas. And that parrot, he wanted it real bad. Every time we'd take a break from recording, we'd go to the pet stores. We'd just, everybody else go to eat, me and Felton would go to the pet shops and look at all the things, And so I bought that parrot for him, and he wanted it so bad, and they wouldn't sell it. And finally, I talked him into selling it to me. And so from the other room, it was in there screaming. I went in and said, now, bird talk, and hey, FJ. And he was so happy. And Chet, knowing how Felton was, will remember that too, how happy he was and how that fun edge. But I was always a little sad because for a while, I thought Chet had really given me to Felton, because he wasn't going to be there anymore. But then he stayed there longer. And actually, because Chet was gone, is why I left RCA. I left RCA with a top 10 record, and with them, it was really a great way to leave, but because he worked it out so I could leave and take off and travel all over the world.
To me, Chet Atkins looks more natural than he has all day with a guitar in his hands. Can you pick and sing a little for us, Chester?
Yeah, somebody wanted me to sing, what is that song? No, it's, I Still Write Your Name in the Snow. And the reason I wrote it with Billy Ed Wheeler, by the way. I used to go out and see him at Versailles Apartments, and we'd pal around together and talk about this and that. But anyway, we were walking one day, and there was a snow on the ground, and I said, nobody's ever written a song about, when we're in the country, if we had to go pee, we'd go out on the porch. We called it going out on the porch. And I said, we should write a song like that. And so we went in his apartment there and wrote this thing. It's called I Still Write Your Name in the Snow. A band on this? I thought we did. I'm almost sorry now. I caught you messing around 'cause you packed up your pickup, boogied out of town. Well, darling, I'd like for you to know that I still write your name in the snow. When the snowflakes fall, I think of you. I think of you and have to settle down. Do you think of me when you're feeling low and wish you could write my name? There's more. I once had an inkling you'd come back again. I see now that I was only tinkling in the wind. You've hurt me more than you will ever know, and I still write your name in the snow. When the snowflakes fall, I guess I see the happy you and me that used to be. I write your name so beautifully, but it's hard to cross the I's and dot the T's. Do you think of me when you're feeling low and wish you could write my name in the snow? Son of a gun, I'm tired of living this way, hot a mighty damn.
Bill, Chet came over to do my show, my talk show, and he called me, though, just before he came, about an hour before, and he said, do you mind if I bring a guest? And he was going to do this song. He said, do you mind if I bring a guest with me? He's a friend and buddy. And I said, oh, bring anybody you want to, Chet. We're just so honored to have you. And he said, well, he picks a little bit, too. His name is George Benson. And he brought him over, and they picked guitars live, right there on the show. And, of course, he sang that song, and George sang it. And then we kind of did a trio on the end. And it was just, it was a moment.
It'll be a hit sometime.
It ought to be a hit for you.
It may be now.
Chet, you could have had a pretty good career as a comedian.
He could.
Really?
Yeah.
Sit down. Sit down.
Never thought of that.
Well, you could have. Of course, Jethro Burns was.
I learned so much from those guys musically. I never did any comedy around them. They were too good. But musically, Jethro was the greatest player in the world. Back there in the 30s and 40s. And Homer was. I played a tape the other day, and it was an instrumental, and Homer was playing rhythm, and I'd forgotten how great he was. He was just.
He knew a chord for every note, didn't he?
Yeah, and if I slowed down or anything, he had a wild eye. He'd look around at you, and he'd go cross-eyed. And if I did something he didn't like, he'd look over me, and his eyes would go cross, and I thought, watch it, buddy. But they were great musicians. I miss them so much.
Yeah, sure were. Funny songs. Del Reeves, you've done a lot of clever songs, not necessarily funny songs. You've done a lot of very, very clever songs, including the biggest hit that I guess you ever had.
Don't sell it. It's not mine.
Here. Well, you also got a pick?
You ain't got nothing, have you?
Well, I can't stand up. If you
I got a thumb pick
here.
here.
I don't need
full
one.
of hillbillies and no pick.
I'm really going to be a. You ain't got one either. I'm not. Chet there for a minute ago was really losing some of the words. If he'd have just done it this way, he wouldn't have to worry about it, the way I did it, Do-do-do-do-do. I do-do-do-do-do. Who is the girl
girl wearing nothing but a smile and a towel, in the picture on the billboard in the field near the big old highway. Rolling down the highway in my Jimmy, hauling freight from Chicago to St. Louis. I see her every day. A double clutch and Weetha like me can hardly ever get a girl to look at him that away. Smiling like the girl wearing nothing but a smile and a towel, in the picture on the billboard in the field near the big old highway. Well, what a girl wearing nothing but a smile and a towel, in the picture on the billboard in the field near the big old highway. I bet it wouldn't take her very long to get gone if someone would pull a dirty trick and take her towel away. I slow me, came me down 20, that's how many wrecks I see there every day. Caused by the girl wearing nothing but a smile and a towel, in the picture on the billboard in the field near the big old highway. I do-do-do-do-do. I do-do-do-do-do. Doggone that girl wearing nothing but a smile and a towel, in the picture on the billboard in the field near the big old highway. Sleepy-headed painter said the girl wasn't real. Better get the on my way. On the Route 66, the billboard to Chicago, you'll find tiny pieces of my heart scattered ever with your way. Shattered by the girl wearing nothing but a smile and towel, in the picture on the billboard in the field near the big old highway. I do-do-do-do-do. I do-do-do-do-do. Everybody come on. Do-do-do-do-do. You get it now. I do-do-do-do-do. That's the way you do it, Chet, you know. Do-do-do-do-do. I do-do-do-do-do. You all know it.
So you're saying if you forget the words, just doodle-doo-doo-doo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know, when we was growing up, we didn't have anybody to second. We call, you know, second us.
Yeah.
So so you'd go, you know. And I was trying to be a fiddle player like Chet was. Then you go do diddle do diddle do diddle 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 do diddle 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 do diddle 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 diddle. And that's
where it
you
came
do it.
from.
Dale, wasn't there some story about trying to get Dolly Parton to pose for the Billboard?
She did. She was, Hubert Long got her to pose. Of course, she had a bathing suit on under a towel. And she wrapped the towel around her, and that was the first one.
Are you sure?
No, Chet, I'm not really sure, but wait a minute. Let me say this. Hubert Long said she did. And that's the only thing that I can tell you.
Is this before anybody knew who Dolly was?
This was, well, she was only singing demos at Moss Rose.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, you learn a lot about somebody when you sit next to them. It's something like our family reunion. I found out that Stonewall Jackson wrote one of his biggest hits for his wife when you were having an argument.
Yeah, that's right. And I was out on the road, like you get out and rent cars. Used to, you could drive up and then clean your windshield and dust off the dash and all that good stuff. They don't do none of that no more. Mostly do it to cost extra, I guess. But anyway, I stopped at a service station like that, and while I was doing all that stuff, I was walking around, and we had some words before I left, you know. And of course, we got back together and everything turned out okay. But I wrote While I'm Walking, and while I was just walking around the gravel, and I didn't have no paper or pencil. Went down the road singing it over and over and over so I wouldn't forget it. And I recorded it before I wrote it down on a piece of paper. And I gave a piece of paper that I wrote it on there later to the Hall of Fame. They kind of collecting a few things on guys. I wanted to mention one thing about it concerns this song too, the two country thing we've been hammering away at traditional country music for a long time, and I played a show back when While I'm Walking was #1 in Billboard, and I went to a radio station. The radio station was putting the show on. And I walked up to one of the disc jockeys, and I said, well, how's my record doing? And he said, well, I'm sorry, but we're not playing it. And that kind of set me back because I was headlining the show, and we had 12,000 people crowd there. And and I was headlining the show, and so I know that's not a funny story, but it kind of fits in with your song. That's a great piece that you done a while ago.
Thank you. Did he say the reason he wasn't playing your record was because it was too country?
Said it was too country, yeah, like you think. If you'd have heard that story way back then, I told someone back there, I said he'd have wrote that song a long time ago if he'd heard me say that.
Sharon?
We had our hits in the 80s, and that's what some of the DJs said to us. I had no idea that they'd been saying it that many years. I thought we were the first ones.
We couldn't figure out how in the world you could get to country for country radio. I still don't get it. I'll never get it.
Yeah, and so I'm going to do another one of these songs that's too country, but it was in the pop charts, about 60 up in the charts. And, even it was too country.
Too country and in the pop charts. I love that. Sing it, Walt.
I've got my angel on my mind, that's why I'm walking. There's such an ache in this old heart, Lord, I ain't talking. The little hand that held mine tight just waved goodbye tonight. I've got her sweet love on my mind, that's why I'm walking. And with an old love on your mind, life's not worth living. I breathe her name with every breath I'm breathing. Why could I never see how much she meant to me? I've got her sweet love on my mind, that's why I'm walking. Should I pass you on the street and I am misspeaking? Could you blame it on this memory I'm keeping? Should I have my head bowed low, hear my songs that you know? I've got her sweet love on my mind, that's why I'm walking. I've got an angel on my mind, that's why I'm walking. Thank you so much.
I told somebody out there a while ago that I'm going to call Juanita and tell her that her song finally made. I tell her, call that her song, because she'll always ask me, said, you going to do my song tonight or not, you know? And I plan on doing anything else, it's not quite good enough. But I was walking along out there, and I was singing. I'm always singing. I get paid once in a while, you know, for it. But I sing all the time. And I was singing while I'm walking behind Chet. And Chet said, man, I love that song. You know? So that song finally made it, Chet. I appreciate that song.
You know, I got to say one thing about Stonewall. He's that kind of a writer, like he got mad with his wife. Him and I and Hank Jr., and he was only 14 years old at the time. And we were on a trip.
We wrote a song together.
Wrote a song together, and Stonewall had polished down boots. I mean, you could see yourself in them. And as he walked out the door, he went and spit, and they went right on that boot.
Instead of the trash can, it went right on my boot.
Yeah.
And
he said, I went to all that trouble for nothing.
And Hank was standing behind me. You was.
I was.
Right there.
Right, yeah, and we wrote it. And I found the lyrics, some of it just the other day, my wife did.
We need to pitch that.
Yeah, we sure do.
Hey, Stonewall, that song wasn't too country, it's too pop, if it went pop. Huh?
Yeah, I told Don Hams, I said, I seen him downtown after I got back in off a trip. I said, well, I can't use you no more. He said, man, why? You know, I love playing with you. I said, you went pop on me.
Well, Charlie, if Why I'm Walking was too country, what would they say about Who'll Buy the Wine?
Well, when this song was out and doing good on jukeboxes and everything, a singer that was popular back then was Rusty Draper. I know some of you guys remember him. He was one of these celebrity golf tournaments, and back then all these guys on the senior tour now, I was playing golf with them all the time, making all these celebrity tournaments. And Billy Maxwell told me they were in a hotel in Las Vegas during the Sahara Invitational, I think it was, and said he told Rusty Draper, said, I've got a song that I just wrote, and Charlie Walker in Nashville has recorded it. And, of course, Draper never heard it. He sung him this song. Said Draper got down on the floor and was kicking his feet up in the air. It like to drove him crazy. But it was just one of those little shuffled Texas things. But it's got some lyrics in it that I can see why maybe a pop singer might have. Who'll buy the wine? All right, let's do it. Texas style. Ago you held our baby's bottle, but the one you're holding now's a different kind. You just sit and wait to be somebody's baby, and it all depends on who will buy the wine. Whoever sets them up and tips the waitress, your kind of love just might as well be blind. You'll never know whose lips you'll soon be kissing, and it all depends on who will buy the wine. The kind of life you're living since you've left me, I'm sure it's not the life you thought you chose. That honky-tonky world is not so flashy. Bright lights and booze is all it really knows. Whoever sets them up and tips the waitress, your kind of love just might as well be blind. You'll never know whose lips you'll soon be kissing, and it all depends on who will buy the wine. And it all depends on who will buy the wine.
Hey, Charlie, before you put the microphone up, great job. Somebody was telling me a while ago that there's a list somewhere of 10 country songs that are the most politically incorrect.
I have two of
And
them.
you got two of them on the list. What are they?
One of them was Tell Her Lies and Feed Her Candy. If you remember the lyrics in that song. Anyway, and Walter Winchell had an article in his column that there was a song out of Nashville now by Charlie Walker, Tell Her Lies and Feed Her Candy, said, I predicted it'll be a hit in Russia. This was about the time Korea and all this, the Cold War. I couldn't figure out what he was talking about. But when I was a disc jockey in San Antonio, began to get letters from GI said that they were using it as a propaganda song on Moscow radio. And they would play that, and it said, see, they teach their kids to lie in the United States. And then they would play Pistol Packin' Mama by Al Texter about this gal shooting her butt in a... And then, so anyway, that was... And then the other one was, I wouldn't take her to a dog fight. And it's got a line there, I wouldn't take her to a dog fight even if she had a chance to win. So you figure that.
Slightly politically incorrect.
A little bit, yeah.
Charlie Louvin and his brother Ira, I guess, kind of defined country harmony for years as the Louvin brothers. Charlie, what was it? You hear people talk, even today, they'll say, give me some of that Ira Louvin harmony. What was so different and so special about what he did and what y'all did together?
I don't know if Ira was here. I don't know if he could explain that to you or not. We was raised in a part of the world that they had the shape notes, the fa sol las. They call it sacred harp music. It's alive only in a couple of 3 states, and a lot of the young people aren't picking up on it. It's kind of like our music. And so every year there's fewer and fewer people that sing that kind of music, but they had harmonies that would blow your mind, and we was raised around that. So Ira never sang what a educated musician would call tenor. I know that several people questioned him, what part are you singing there? And he said, you don't like it? And the guy, Ken Nelson would say, no, I didn't say I didn't like it. I just asked you what it was. Ira said, well, I don't know what it is. I just do what I think sounds right. And so that's how we came into the switcheroo, switching parts like we did.
Didn't Ira, he said one time, he just squared the notes off. He just squared them off.
Yeah, well.
Like instead of going down, he would just.
Well, I don't want to take up a lot of the time because I know that everybody's having fun and there's lots more of us here.
I know it was wonderful harmony.
My daddy was bugged a lot by the singing school teacher close to our house, 5 miles. He would teach singing school. It was a two-week singing school every year, and he kept bothering Papa about you should send them boys over there so that they'll know what they're singing about. And he bugged Papa so much that finally my daddy said he agreed. It's expensive. It costs $1 a day per guy, That's $14 a week for 2 weeks. At $28 in the 30s, not in the 30s, that was a lot of money. But my daddy dug it up somewhere, and he gave it to us to go to singing school with. We got as far as the grocery store, and we bought some candy and a few smokes. Along with 3 or 4 other guys, we headed for the woods. We knew what time that the singing school was over, so we'd drift back into the house about the time that we should get there, And the second day, though, my daddy ran into this singing school teacher. He said, Colonel, I thought you was going to send your boys to that school. And Pop said, well, he just made some excuse, And when he came home that evening and we drifted in out of the woods, we had a huge surprise. He got us for not going to school, for wasting the money, and lying how well we liked the school that we never went to.
Well, you made a great career, of course, with you and Ira. And Ira was killed in, 1965?
Father's Day. 65.
And you took out on a solo career and had a lot of hit records. Sing one of your songs for us.
No, I'm gonna sing a Bill Anderson song if you don't mind.
Well, I mind.
The other day we were cutting the bluegrass thing, and Mac Wiseman wouldn't let anybody sing unless he published a song. He every time somebody said, "I'm gonna sing so and so," Mike, you could see Mac thinking, and they would say, "Oh, you got half publishing on this." He said, "Okay, you can do it." I don't have any publishing on this, but I do want to thank Bill Anderson and all you beautiful people. Chet Atkins cut the first record we ever cut. Well, not the MGM thing. I mean, the Decca thing. You didn't do that. But Chet did all the gospel music up through 1955, and including When I Stopped Dreaming. And then we found a boy that ate and slept that stuff, called Chet Atkins, Paul Yandel, and Paul is today playing with Chet, and he's a happy camper. I'll tell you,
yeah,
Chet.
He's
where he lives with Chet Atkins. So I'll thank all y'all for allowing me to be in the business for this long. And Bill Anderson started my career with the first song I had was "I Don't Love You Anymore," and then on down just a little farther, we recorded Sweet Texas, and this song that Bill sings that he gives his band a chance to play on once in a while. I Don't Have Any Place to Go. I recorded that, Bill. You know that?
I know that.
And then about 1965, I guess it was, or maybe 66, I recorded this one. We hope that you'll remember it's one of the greatest songs Bill Anderson ever sprouted. Think I'll go somewhere and cry myself to sleep. I just kissed the one I love for the last time. Never have her soft lips been so sweet. But now she's gone away and won't be back forever. Think I'll go somewhere and cry myself to sleep. I'll go somewhere and cry myself to sleep. Not because I'm sad, but God knows I'm weak. I can't stand the thought
Life
alone without her. I know where I'm at, Jim. Think I'll go somewhere and cry myself to sleep. Then just before she said goodbye, she called me darling. Then she slowly ran her fingers down my cheek. Lord, I just knew when she said she still loved me. Think I'll go somewhere and cry myself to sleep. I'll go somewhere and cry myself to sleep. Not because I'm sad, Lord knows I'm weak. And I can't stand the thought of life alone without her. Think I'll go somewhere and cry myself to sleep. Think I'll go somewhere and cry myself to sleep. Thanks to Carol Lee and the Whites. And Janie Seeley, too, if you singing then.
I think everybody was singing, Charlie. Thank you.
Bill, you asked the question, Bill, about their harmonies and how Ira got the harmonies that he got. There's something about families whenever they're singing together that their voices, they will bend their voices in order to blend with each other. And I know that Ira did a lot of that, but Ira did a lot of switching. He would go from a harmony, a second part, to a third part, and back and forth. But they would blend. And I know that Charlie still, every once in a while, I notice that he bends quite a bit also. But speaking of that, of the harmonies and all, we were going into and doing the Ed Sullivan Show one year. We had flown in from Canada, and we had got there ahead of our arrangements. A fellow by the name of Norman Hawes was doing our arrangements out in California, and we knew what the instrumentation of, that they had on the Sullivan Show, and he was making all of our arrangements for us. So we had got there before them, and so when we got there, we were supposed to go in and go over them, and Mr. Martin Block was the fellow that was directing the orchestra. And he said, since the arrangements aren't here, why don't we just sit down here and I'll play the piano and y'all can sing for us. So we started singing, trying to sing, the Old Lamplighter and the Three Bells that we were going to do. And he would play a little bit and then he would stop. And finally he said, y'all don't sing what's on this piano. He said, we're going to have to wait for your arrangements to get here because y'all bend too much, But that's what Maxine and Bonnie, it's not a true harmony, that you write. And, of course, Chet realized this many, many years, and the band would always keep everything kind of simple for us because we just hit the plain old, country notes that we all knew.
He said your music can't be written.
Yes, that's right.
He said because it's called, we found out this about ourselves, it's called tempering harmony, and we'd never heard that before. But when he said your music can't be written, we thought, oh my God,
Well, that type harmony must be a natural thing because in addition to Ira Louvin, somebody mentioned earlier when Dolly Parton first came to town and sang on demos, she sang on some demos for me, and she jumped from second to third part. It was natural. That was the natural thing for her to do. And she said, this is not technically correct, and I know it's not, but it was the natural thing.
She's been singing a lot with her kin, I guess, and Ari would know when something's fixing to get too high for me, and surely I would know. So he'd just switch into high lead, and I'd just come to low harmony. But if he wanted to, at my highest points, he could triple that. He could sing tenor to Bill Monroe, and he didn't use a falsetto. I had a falsetto, as most people have, but I never heard him. I never got high enough to force him to use it.
Well, I'll say this, and I imagine everybody in the room will agree with me. The Louvin brothers ought to be in the Country Music Hall of Fame. You guys ought to be there. You contributed so much.
Well,
I voted for him last year.
Bless your heart. I know what the criteria is that you should get in the Hall of Fame with. And there's a lot of people in the Hall of Fame that didn't meet that criteria. Lucky for them that they're in there. But I truly feel, and I don't speak for myself, but I think the Louvin Brother music should be represented by membership in the Hall.
It should be. Great music. Johnny Russell, get us in a happy mood.
You redneck, you.
Well, I'll tell you what. When I don't need that. Yeah, go ahead. Just try to play what I'm singing. When I first met Chester, it's 1959, and he told me, he said, if you'll wait a while, I'll put you on RCA. 13 years later, I walked in his office, and I said, do you think I've waited long enough? But he had done a lot for me. During that time, he had gotten me with different people and things, and he went ahead, told Jerry Bradley to get a budget together and everything for me to record. And I was talking to Jerry, and Jerry told me, he said, now you got to go in there and tell Chet that you want him to produce you, because he wants to produce you. And I said, well, I'm scared to do it with Chet. I don't know if I can do it around Chet. He said, well, he wants you to ask, so you better go ask him. So for 2 days, I put it off, and I finally went in there and I said, Chet, would you produce me? And he said, no, I ain't got time. But he wanted Jerry to have a chance to. Jerry hadn't started making records then, and he wanted Jerry to do it, and so we did it, and we kept recording songs. We finally recorded a song, and Jack Johnson was Charlie Pride's manager. And I had this song, and I told him I was going to record it, and he said, you'll never sing it on a Charlie Pride show. And I was working with Charlie at the time. He said, that song is racial. And I couldn't understand what he's talking about. But we went ahead and recorded it, and he said, you better not put it out because it ain't going to be a hit, and it ain't going to do nothing, and you're stupid to put it out. And Charlie ain't going to like it. So we got together and we talked, and we decided, we went into Chet's office, and we said, Chet, we have this song, and we really feel like it's going to be a hit. But they tell us that Charlie ain't going to like it. So we don't know what to do. And Chet, in his wisdom, said, well, call him and ask him. Very simple. So sitting at Chet's desk, we called Charlie and asked him, and all Charlie said to me was, do you think it's a hit? And I said, yeah. He said, well, then put it out. But I never was allowed to sing it on Charlie's show, not because of Charlie, but because of his manager. It was #1, and we were in Kansas City, and people were standing out in the audience hollering for me to do the song, and I looked over at Charlie's manager, and he said, no, I told you you'd never sing it on Charlie Pride's show, and you don't. And I wanted to hit him and still want to hit him. But anyway.
Well, you can sing it here.
All right, thank you very much. Is it in E? Is it that the key we're doing? There's no place that I'd rather be than right here with my redneck, white socks and blue ribbon beer. The barmaid is mad 'cause some guy made a pass. The jukebox is playing, there stands a glass. The cigarette smoke kinda hangs in the air. Rednecks, white socks and blue ribbon beer. Well, a cowboy is a cussing the pinball machine. A drunk at the bar, getting noisy and mean. Some guy on the phone says I'll be home soon, dear. Rednecks, White Sox, and Blue Ribbon beer. We don't fit in with that white collar crowd. Little too rowdy and a little too loud. No place that I'd rather be than right here with my redneck, White Sox, and Blue Ribbon beer. There's no place that I'd rather be than right here with my redneck, White Sox, and Blue Ribbon beer. I will tell you that Charlie kept telling me, sing that song. And every time, you know, his manager would say, the band even learned it. Charlie's band learned it and everything, but he wouldn't let me do it.
I listened very closely. I couldn't hear anything in there that would be a racial song.
But
well, it became an anthem of sorts.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
see,
it
the
really
problem was I had a manager at the time that believed everything his manager said was the way it ought to be.
Well, Charlie finally fired Jack.
Yeah, because of Rednecks. Not the song, Rednecks.
That's right. Rednecks are just guys that work out in the sun.
That's right. That's a guy gets
sun gets on his back.
Yeah, riding around on tractors and things.
That's right.
It's redneck.
Hey, guys, we're in for a real treat. We're about to run out of time, but before we go, but no, that's not the treat. The treat is that Jim, Ed, and Maxine and Bonnie, the Browns, and Buck and Sharon and Cheryl, the Whites, are going to go over by the piano, and they are going to do some family harmony together, the likes of which has probably never been heard and may never be heard again.
You know what? That's the truth. I've been wanting to sing with the Whites ever since they've been on the Opry, ever since they came and joined the Opry some few years ago. Maxine and Bonnie, you know, whenever they retired, I didn't get a chance to sing with them much. So, girls, if y'all will bring a microphone with you, and we'll ease over here, and you can, everybody else can keep talking and all of those things, and we'll get.
Charlie Louvin, while they're doing this, I remember the one time that the Louvin brothers performed with the Wilburn brothers. That was a very special day. Do you remember that?
I believe that we even sang the Knoxville Girl.
You did. It
We
was at
switched
Mockingbird
off.
Hill Park in Anderson,
That's right.
Indiana.
Exactly.
Yeah, I happened to be on the show. That was a very special day. I don't think the Louvins and the Wilburns ever sang together but that one time, did you?
I think you're correct.
Are we ready?
We're ready when y'all are.
Well, hopefully we can bend the notes a little bit, because Maxine is standing up and she's been sitting all day, and she's.
That has nothing to do with it.
Okay. Chet, you recorded this on us in 1962, and I don't know that we've ever performed it since then together.
We have, Chet.
Have we really? Oh, that's right. We did record it one other time. We did. Okay.
It's in the religious album called Brown Church Hymnal.
Right. Buck is going to play the piano, and hopefully we can all hold our melodies together. One of the greatest songs that was ever written, and especially whenever you get families together singing. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm found. Was blind, but now I see. 'Twas grace that taught
been there 10,000 years, bright shining as the sun. We've known less days to sing God's praise than when we first begun. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but